In this video, a center beam takes a nap, 3 successful heritage units, and a failed heritage unit. Back in February 2023, I made my second trip to the Bridgeview bed and breakfast. This time we went over in late winter, so it was much colder and all of the trees were still dead. This gave us the opportunity to see much more than we could see back on our first trip. You could see trains coming down the riverbank through the empty trees for miles before they reached the bridge. This first day started off with a few locals and smaller trains that trundled over the bridge and back. Since the lead into Enola Yard goes right behind the B&B, you could see each train coming from or going to Enola quite clearly on the back porch. We then got treated to the daily Amtrak Pennsylvanian, and the day ended with a few more road freights. The drive there had been a long one, so I didn't have a full day to railfan here at Bridgeview. The next morning I was up early and got treated to a stunning display of coupler slack sounds. For those who don't know, knuckle couplers can extend a bit in their socket, so if a train pulls on a stationary cut of cars, each one will extend, for example. If the engineer keeps stopping and going, you get this cool effect where each car gets yanked by the previous car or slams into the previous car. This action will travel down the length of the train, so while standing next to it, you'll hear a repeating boom that gets louder and louder and louder as it nears you, and then quieter and quieter and quieter as it travels away. Take a listen. The quiet morning continued with a manifest with a single leader and a single DPU. This train then covered up an intermodal that was slowly heading into Harrisburg Yard. The end eventually revealed
4 engines
on the intermodal train. While leaving the B&B, we passed multiple derailed cars by the side of the west end of the bridge. These were from a small derailment that happened earlier. I couldn't find much news on the topic because, something else was happening at this time. Anyway, while we were driving, we started racing a manifest down a river gorge, and yet for some reason I recorded it vertically. Okay, while editing I realized that this train is actually the same train as this one that I saw back at Bridgeview. Nothing much else to say, just thought it was pretty cool. I would finally see a train with multiple engines once we reached Altoona. Turn around the camera there, buddy. There we go. As we were driving past Norfolk Southern's Juniata Shops, I was casually recording the engine sitting there until I noticed something orange and blue. Yep, 1071, the Jersey Central unit, 1801, the yellow DC to AC unit, and 1074, the Lackawanna, all in one shot. Okay, look, I know it's very common to see heritage units hanging around at the Juniata Shops, but before this day I had never seen an NS heritage unit. Okay, well I mean the main 20. And after not seeing any on a 4-day vacation next to several busy NS lines including the Pittsburgh, and then seeing 2 with a bonus horsehead throw-in was really awesome. This trip had a purpose other than going to see trains and relax at the B&B. I will explain in a future video as to what's going to be happening on the channel soon, so be on the lookout for that. As the sun went down, an intermodal with a pretty sizable consist slowly went over the bridge. It was at this time that we found out that NS 4003 would be coming across the bridge for us, but we didn't know if it would come by during the daytime or not. And the other unknown was if the train that you're seeing right now with the Union Pacific engine would cover up 4003. The sun got lower and lower, and this manifest kept creeping by at an agonizingly slow pace, and while we were waiting, I was messing around with my phone's settings and camera trying to figure out the best way to film in low light. I found that taking a picture actually captured the light better than a video because the phone I had would take 3 seconds of exposure and absorb as much light as possible. I did not consider, however, that 4003 would be moving, and moving subjects in long exposure photographs become wavy blobs. I did not notice this, but regardless, 4003 came across the bridge behind the slow manifest, and this was the best shot I could take of it on the back porch. Since 4003 was going into Enola Yard, I asked my mother if I could borrow the car and drive down to the bridge closer to Enola Yard and try and get some light on 4003. If this story sounds familiar, it's because this exact plot happened the last time I came here with NS4000. Anyway, I drive down to the bridge and still stick with the ill-informed plan to take only pictures of 4003. I took a test picture of a stationary SD60i, not noticing that the rolling stock that was moving behind it was blurry. Anyway, 4003 came under the bridge and I got my camera ready. I waited till it was right under me and hit the photo button. I saw my phone go dark, and then the light started appearing on my screen. And for 3 seconds I watched as 4003 became a longer and longer blurry streak on my screen. Panicking, I snap another photo but try to move the camera so that 4003 doesn't move inside the frame, which worked a little bit as it went away. I returned to the bed and breakfast with some blurry pictures of 4003. As if matching the mood, the weather the next day was quite rainy and foggy. To capture this strain, I had to run out of the dining room while I was eating breakfast, which, by the way, each meal that was cooked here at the Bridgeview Bed and Breakfast was all really good. It was different each day, and it was always a really great start to the day. Adding on to the great start, I got 2 BNSF engines trailing on an eastbound domestic intermodal after breakfast. Then, after a train leaving Enola Yard went by the back of the B&B, I also caught 2 Union Pacific engines trailing on a westbound domestic intermodal. The last train I'd see at the B&B was a local with an SD40E leading. Anyways, that's every train I saw on this eventful trip to Pennsylvania. As always, there's a link to the unedited footage in the description below. Those videos always have some extra content that didn't make it into the video. Now if you excuse me, I have to go pack my bags. Thank you for watching, have a great day.